Good morning, everyone. This is Russell Rucker, and I'm here for another constitutional talk. You know, I really want you to catch these videos, so I have to ask you, and I know it's redundant and all these other channels asking you, but please subscribe. Please follow me here on Constitutional Talks. I am an author of some fine books. This is my latest, 126 Days in Philadelphia. And it's in a story form, but it really gives you a good concept of what they were dealing with when they wrote the Constitution. And it gives you a good understanding of their ideas and plans, and really a good understanding of what the Constitution means. Of course, it doesn't get into the amendments, because it's about the convention. But it still gives you an incredible vision of what it's all about. Now, today, I want to talk about tyranny. In the 1760s and 1770s, we were engaged in a conflict with Britain, and basically on account of a tyrannical government, in other words, tyranny. And that's one of the purposes of our Second Amendment, is to protect us from tyranny, not allow the federal government to basically push us around. And that's pretty much what tyranny is. It's pushing us around to an extreme. Now, there have been examples in history where tyranny has gotten way out of control. The one most cited, of course, is in Germany, with the extermination of the Jews, and just persecution, I guess, would be another way of talking about it. Another good example would be in 1789 in France, during the Rage of Paris, and just the beheading and ridicule and harassment of so many. And what I want to get to today is a different kind of tyranny, but there are many. That's a tyranny of a government, a tyranny of somebody taking control and then running over people. But there's also tyranny of party, for instance, where one party could harass and harm the other. We are in a two-party system, and from time to time, one or the other gains control. And it's what they do with that power that can be a problem. Recently, we've heard a lot of talk about our democracy, our sacred democracy, all this kind of bunk. And it is bunk because there is no democracy. At least we never intended there to be a democracy. We are a republic. And a democracy, the majority always wins. And in a republic, you have certain safeguards. And that's really the difference between the two. Our founders, for the most part, were opposed to democracy. They thought there was an incessant danger of it. Abraham Clark, he wanted a democracy. But Fisher Adams, he blamed the French Revolution on too much democracy. I just mentioned the French Revolution and the tyranny of that. He also railed against the Jeffersonian Republicans. He believed democracy would be the republic's downfall. And anytime you have one group large enough to overcome the other and punitively punish the other, that is a tyranny. Abraham Baldwin, he was elected to the Congress of the Confederation, and he had this really great line: "Take hold the wagon back." There's more of danger in running too fast than too slow. Take care. Hold the wagon back. There's more danger of it running too fast than in running too slow. That is the sentiment of why we have a Senate and why we have a House. Now, can be a tyranny of democracy, and we have to guard against this. We have to guard against one group overpowering the other and pushing their weight around. A tyranny of government could be things like, we'll give you the money, but only if you do whatever we tell you to do. Only then does that become a tyranny. Dictating to the states, blackmailing the states, and forcing them to do something to accept some kind of benefit. Lots of times in government, you take money and there are strings attached, as they say. So we're forced to do something that we would not otherwise do. That, in effect, is a tyranny of government. And when it is elected and appointed to do so, that, my friends, is a tyranny of democracy. Now, this last week's been an interesting one. On Facebook in my group, there was this discussion, somebody saying that Congress can do whatever they want. We elect them and there's nothing we can do about it. And I told them that this was, you're literally describing a tyranny of democracy. And he fired back saying that we always want to talk, everything's a tyranny. Well, fine. But this is a tyranny of democracy, to actually say that Congress can do in and of itself whatever it wants to do because it's an elected body. Personally, that's crazy, and it takes away the idea that we have judicial review, for instance, that we have a president. We have these things for a reason. We have the Electoral College for a reason. The Constitution of the United States divides up power for a reason. And that reason, my friends, is the tyranny. The tyranny they felt by the British, and the tyranny that could be by a democracy. And that's why we ain't got one. Democracy is not this sacred cow that some people seem to think it is, and just because we vote on someone or for something doesn't make it a democracy. We have a republic. And I know we've talked about this before, and I've tried to talk about it in several ways, and yet people seem to persist in this idea that we can elect people, they can do whatever they see fit. But that's why we have a constitution. A constitution is a framework. We fill in that framework. And yet, it doesn't restrict government from anything. It restricts the federal government from things. And it gives power to the federal government. But then that power that is restricted to the federal government is then passed along to the states and to the people. So government can do whatever it wants. It becomes a jurisdictional issue. And if somehow Congress, the president, has run over their duties, then it can be struck down by the court because they didn't do what they should have. But power is still enshrined in the state and to the people, if not to the federal government. Now, one of the reasons for this is to slow down the process backwards. There's more danger in moving too fast than moving too slow. And the reason for the House being able to turn over in one election and the Senate takes 3 elections is just that. Hold the wagons back. There's more danger in moving too fast than there is in moving too slow. And I hope you think of his quote once in a while and realize exactly why we have what we have. Look, folks, we'll catch you next time on the next Constitutional Talk. You folks have a good day now. Please subscribe. Pick up one of my many books. I am arguing for our constitutional rights and trying to educate the populace on what our rights are. And I see you next week on the next Constitutional Talk. Bye for now.